Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video, Cajun baby back ribs. Welcome to the channel. If you're looking for some authentic Cajun and Creole recipes, good old down-home comfort food, and just about anything for that matter, then you're in the right place. In today's video, we're going to be looking at some Cajun-style smoked baby back ribs. Now, I love baby back ribs. I like St. Louis style as well, but I just think the baby back ribs just has a little more meat on them. They're just more succulent. And what we're going to be doing today is smoking them with a little bit of that West Coast Cajun cuisine's Creole seasoning. I'm going to add just a touch of that Zatarain's crab oil seasoning to it. We're also going to add that Zatarain seasoning to the homemade barbecue sauce that we're going to be making with this. And these are so good. Man, look, I have a request for these quite often. When people find out that I'm making them, they want to come over for dinner. It's just delicious. All right, good old down-home backyard barbecue. Without any further ado, let's get to the kitchen and the grill, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here are some of the ingredients that we're going to be using today. Now I'll have the full recipe in the description box below. We have removed the ribs from the packaging, and now we're going to pat them dry with a paper towel. Also, I would normally remove the membrane from these, but the membrane has already been removed, so that's one step we don't have to worry about. Now we're going to apply a thin layer of yellow mustard to these ribs. Now this is just to help the seasoning stick to the ribs. It just acts as a binder. It does not affect the flavor whatsoever. I promise you will not taste any mustard on these ribs once it's all done. Now we're going to give this a healthy coating of seasoning. Now what I have here is 6 tablespoons of West Coast Cajun cuisine's Creole seasoning, 1 tablespoon of Zatarain's powdered crab oil, and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Now once we get the seasoning on here, we just want to give it a nice pat, make sure that seasoning is on there real good, and then we're just going to set this to the side and let it sit until we get the grill ready. Alright, we are out here with the Masterbuilt Gravity Series 800. We're going to set it to smoke at 250 degrees using a little bit of apple wood. It's been about 20 minutes. Our smoker's come up to temp. Now we're going to lay the ribs in here, one on the top rack, one on the middle rack. We'll let them smoke for about an hour and a half. We'll be back to check them out. Now with the magic of video editing, it has already been about 2 hours. These ribs have a beautiful color. They're looking good. I'm going to let them go for about another 30 minutes, and then we're going to pull them off and wrap them up. Alright, it's been about 2.5 hours. We've removed the ribs from the smoker already. Now we're going to wrap them. Now for this process, it's very simple. We're just going to go ahead and add a little bit of honey, some butter, a little bit more of that seasoning, put the ribs on top of that, repeat the process. We're going to wrap them in foil, probably double wrap, and then we'll put them back on the smoker. Alright, we got these ribs wrapped up. We're going to go ahead and get them back on the grill, and then we're going to head back to the kitchen and I'll show you how to make that sauce. Now that we got our ribs back on the smoker, we're going to make the sauce. Now I have a saucepan heated up to a medium heat. We're going to add our butter and then we're going to saute our vegetables. Now that we got our Cajun Trinity in there, we're going to go ahead and add a little pinch of salt. That always helps when you're sauteing your vegetables. It helps draw the moisture out and soften those vegetables. Now once we get that salt in there, we're going to let it saute for about 2-3 minutes or so, and then we're going to add our garlic. Now as you can see, nothing is chopped fine here, and the reason for that is we're going to throw this all in a blender here in a little bit. So we just want to get this softened up, let it start releasing its flavors, and then we're going to continue from there. Now that everything's been sauteing for a bit, they've gotten nice and soft and released all those wonderful flavors, we're going to add 2 cups of bourbon. We're going to let that cook down for about 5 minutes or so, just long enough to cook that alcohol out. Now that's been simmering for a little while, that alcohol is gone, we're going to add some chicken stock. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 cups of water, 2 teaspoons of that better than bouillon chicken base. If you have some homemade stock, that'd be the ideal thing, or even the stuff that comes in the box that you buy at the grocery store. Either way, this is going to turn out just fine. But let's go ahead and add that chicken stock, get that mixed in, and then we're going to let it simmer down and reduce to about half. Now we have let this liquid reduce down to about half, and now we're going to transfer it over to the blender. Now we're going to blend this for a good 3 to 5 minutes. We want to get this nice and smooth. Now that we have this blended, we will need to strain it. Now what I have here is called a chinois, and basically what that is just a technical term for a very fine mesh strainer. Use whatever strainer you have. The idea here is to try to separate as much pulp from the liquid as you possibly can. Now that we have this strained, we let it simmer for about 2 minutes. It's time to add the rest of the ingredients. Make sure that you follow the ingredient list down below. Now once you get everything in there, go ahead and give it a good whisk. Put it on low, let it simmer for about 10 minutes or so, and let's go check on the ribs. All right, now these ribs have been on the smoker for about an hour wrapped up, and at this point, I'm not really going by time or temperature, I'm going by feel. And the best way I could describe this is I want them to be flexible. Now I don't want them to feel like if I pick them up with one hand in the middle, they're just gonna break apart. I want them to be flexible though. And basically what I'm looking for is very tender with a little bite through. I'm not looking for fall off the bone, but I'm looking for almost, it's kind of a fine line. It's something you're just gonna have to feel out for yourself, and when you cook ribs enough, you'll understand what I'm saying. And for you barbecue guys out there that are just looking for a new recipe, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and pull these off. We're going to unwrap them, throw them back on the grill. You want them to tighten up just a little bit, and then we're going to sauce them. Now our ribs have been back on the smoker for about 30 minutes. We just wanted to tighten them up a little bit. Now we're going to glaze them with that sauce. And then we're going to close the lid. We're going to let it sit for about 5 minutes. Come back, flip them over, glaze them, 5 minutes, repeat the process, and then we're going to pull them off. Now I wanted to show you this because this is a couple of racks of St. Louis style ribs that I did the exact same recipe on. So it doesn't matter what style ribs you do it, this recipe is going to work just fine, and these were just as delicious. Alright, I had to grab some of these ribs because I have people over here right now and they went quick. I didn't even get a chance to get my thumbnail. I had to use those St. Louis style ribs for that. But check this out. Beautiful smoke ring, nice and juicy. They're separating from the bone. Super delicious. This is a recipe you have to try out if you like to barbecue ribs. Look, if you haven't already and you'd like to subscribe, click here. Want to check out another video on this channel? Check out this playlist, or YouTube thinks this is the video you may want to watch. Either way, click one of those and I'll see you there.